Hi everyone, I'm Jayne Groll, CEO of the DevOps Institute, and I'm super excited to be with you today at DevOps Enterprise Summit, talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is engineering service management using site reliability engineering practices. A little bit about me: I am currently CEO and one of the co-founders of the DevOps Institute. You may know me from my days in the ITSM space. I was one of the co-founders of ITSM Academy, longtime ITSM expert. The last several years spent in the DevOps space. I'm also a former IT ops director, so I've been in the IT space a fairly long time and have had, I think, a bird's eye view of the evolution of the tech community. I'm also author of the Agile Service Management Guide, which you can access for free at the DevOps Institute website. Speaking of DevOps Institute, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about us. Our mission is to advance the human elements of DevOps. We're a professional member association where we try to create a safe environment for our members to connect with each other, to upskill their knowledge, to grow their careers, and then hopefully be able to support their organization's digital transformation. We have multiple levels of membership, including a basic free membership. So go up to our website, become a member. There's lots of assets and resources for you, and you'll be able to connect with other humans at DevOps as well. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, just to level set everyone's understanding, I'm going to provide a very brief introduction to site reliability engineer and particularly SRE principles. Then we're going to look at SRE really through the lens of IT service management. I'm not going to compare it to ITIL. I don't think that's fair. I really want to look at SRE as a standalone framework, focusing on site reliability engineering practices. And then we'll wrap up by looking at SRE in industry. We'll talk about the role of the site reliability engineer and some opportunities perhaps for you to learn more. So stay tuned. So it's no surprise to anybody that the last year was particularly challenging on a human and on an organizational perspective. Nobody expected this coming out of 2019, entering into the new decade. The challenges that were faced across the world were just unfathomable. And organizations had to pivot very quickly. Those that were able to adapt to a digital landscape survived, some maybe even thrived. Those that couldn't face challenges that were never expected, and unfortunately some organizations did not survive. But whatever this new normal is going to look like as we come out of 2020 and half of 2021, one thing's certain: digital transformation is just no longer optional. The digital landscape is real, and organizations, I think, have learned, in some cases the hard way, that they need to be able to adopt a digital approach as we move forward through the next decade and beyond. But if you're going to be digital, then you also need to be reliable. And I think that's where site reliability engineering really comes in, where we understand that reliability, access, the usability of a service is really the only way to truly measure value. And so we're going to take a look at some of the practices and principles that Google described in the SRE series of books. And you may not be Google, that's okay. But the practices and principles are modern, and I think they really adapt to the digital landscape in many ways better. So what is site reliability engineering? And again, some of you may have some preconceived understanding or knowledge about it. I'm going to stay pretty high level when we look at SRE as a service management framework. It all started with the site reliability engineering book, authored by several members of the Google team, who really wanted to describe how they're able to keep their very complex environment, large-scale systems, reliable. And again, it came viral very quickly. It addresses the operational side of the house, but definitely steps back pre-production. And then while the site reliability engineering book describes the practices, the principles, and has some prescriptive guidance, it was followed on pretty quickly with the site reliability workbook. And then just recently, building secure and reliable systems as part of site reliability engineering was introduced as well. You can read these books for free on the Google site. You can buy them through Amazon if you prefer a hard or digital copy of your own. But each of these books was intended to describe how to manage services in large-scale environments by creating roles, practices, and the elimination of manual work through an engineering mindset. You know, look at the description from Ben Traynor-Sloss of Google. SRE is what happens when you ask a software engineer to design an operations function. So we really are looking at engineering operations, but you also have to engineer process and practices in order to have intelligent automation. And I think that's a key aspect of SRE as well. Google, by its own definition, considers SRE its approach to service management and calls it out in the early parts of the first book. And look at what an SRE team is responsible for: availability, latency, performance, efficiency, change management, monitoring, emergency response, and capacity planning. Those are traditional classic IT service management practices. But then rules are codified for how the SRE teams are going to interact with their environment. So not only post-production, right, post-deployment, but